So your point is, if EBITDA is so important, why people still focus on net profit? See, remember the question answer, of course, is very simple. The question of tax will arise only when you make profit. If you are not making profit, you will not be paying tax. And in any case, please remember, if you make profit, you're not going to pay the entire profit by way of tax. It is only 25% or 30% is going to be paid by way of tax. So that is the reason tax is not so much material, when you are acquiring a company or when someone is looking at lending money to you. Number two, depreciation and amortization, remember, are sunk cost. So when I say sunk cost, that means what? That means these costs are done already. Now you cannot do anything about them. Since you cannot do anything about them, they are no longer a variable in the decision making process. Number two, the depreciation and amortization are in any case non-cash expenses. So when I say non-cash expenses, what does it mean? It simply means that on account of depreciation or amortization, there is no outflow of cash. So since there is no outflow of cash, the cash is going to be with you only, and therefore this is also not important, when you are taking a decision with regard to the valuation of a company. Number three, interest that you spoke about. Please remember, interest is a cost which is linked with the borrowing. So as Ratan Tata or as Gautam Adani or as Lakshmi Nivas Mittal or anybody else for that matter, whenever I am acquiring a company, I am least bothered about interest cost. And why I am least bothered about the interest cost? Because I know interest cost is in my hand. In case if I don't want to pay interest, I will not borrow. I will fund everything by way of equity. In case if I want to pay interest, then I will borrow. So that is why these three costs, that is depreciation, amortization, interest and tax, become irrelevant, when you are doing valuation of a company. And at the same time, remember, it does not mean that you completely ignore interest. It does not mean that you completely ignore the tax. It does not mean that you completely ignore the depreciation and amortization. The point that we need to understand as the board member is what is the first thing, क्या है, पहली चीज कौन सी है. अब देखिए, अगर एक कंपनी की एबिटा वीक है ऑलरेडी, तो आपको इंटरेस्ट टैक्स पे जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. आपको पहले ही मालूम है कि ये कंपनी की बेसिक कंडीशन खराब है. अगर कंपनी की एबिटा ही अगर वीक है, तो दैट मीन्स समथिंग इज फंडामेंटली रॉन्ग विद दैट कंपनी. So if something is wrong fundamentally with that company, why should you or anybody else put your money into that company? And that is the reason why always there is a focus on the EBITDA whenever any major decisions are taken with regard to a company.